Hey, how you doing? Bayou Golf, and welcome back to the third part of a three-part series, The History of the Game of Golf. Got a question for you guys. How many of you out there actually know how 18 holes became the standard for a round of golf? Well, I did find out. You see, there was a group of guys over in St. Andrews, Scotland. They had a piece of land, and they had a building they called their clubhouse. Well, they laid out some holes from the clubhouse to the end of their land. So, they would play 11 holes out and 11 holes back. That was their round of golf. Well, through the years, some of these members said, some of these holes are kind of small and too close together, so they combined some of these holes. 9 holes out, 9 holes back became the standard for a round of golf back then and also holds true for today. Now, these guys, they called themselves the Association of Gentlemen Golfers of Lee, which later on became the Royal and Ancient Golf Club of St. Andrews, which we'll call R&A. They had a one-day tournament in 1744. They needed a new set of rules for this one-day tournament, and these rules were supposed to disappear. But they hung with us, and they're still with us today. Now, during this time, the game of golf was starting to spread pretty good throughout the Empire of England, of London. And wherever they would set up their golf courses, they would pretty much have their own set of rules. I mean, there was no standardized set of rules because of the land they were using and the equipment. So now that St. Andrews is now the center point, the hub of the golfing world, they got together and they put down standard rules for them and the courses out there underneath the English Empire. Now, in 1894, the USGA came about and they agreed to play by the rules set down by the R&A. 1899 to 1934, golf is still growing worldwide, but some of the rules, language, had to be changed. I mean, I guess they were still using the old English way of talking. For instance, maybe over in New Zealand, they didn't understand the word turf. Had to be clarified. Club length might not have been clear in Canada. And also, pick and clean had to be cleaned up, made more clear for all these places that was playing golf. Now, in 1908, the first published rule book was put out by the R&A, followed closely in 1927 by the USGA. Now, in 1927, for some reason, the USGA, even though they are now agreeing with their buddies, the R&A, they started changing the rules for American competition. Now, you can imagine guys going back and forth how this was confusing. So in 1934, the R&A and USGA got together once again and put down standard rules for competition. Now, 1934 to 1952. One of the interesting rule changes that caught my eye was the 14 club limit. Now, you see, up to that point, people were playing up to 30 clubs or more. So the 14 club rule was put down. Now, World War II came around, and you can imagine that the golf game pretty much came to a stop. But soon after, in 46, the USGA got crazy and started changing the rules again, which kind of teed off the R&A. So in January the 1st, 1952, again, they got together and put down some more standard rules. 1952 to 1947, rule changes came about some more. I mean, the rule changes really came about because of the equipment change. I mean, once the rubber ball, the steel shaft, steel heads, grooves in the steel heads, putters. I mean, that's really where the rule changes really start coming about. In 1960, They had to come out with a rule. Every 4 years, they would investigate the rules again. Now, during this time span, 52 to 84, the 10-second rule, looking over the ball, waiting for it to drop in, that was established. The penalty drop, where the golfer has to be erect, arms straight out, shoulder height, drop the ball. Now, see, up to that point, for a hazard, you could actually take the ball and throw it as far as you wanted to, in any direction. I mean, yeah, there was some needed rule changes. 1984 until now. The hazard rule. Now, this helped me out a lot. Now, see, if a player fell in a hazard, sand trap, a hazard, water, whatever, and they disturbed the ground, the surface, they were penalized a stroke. In 2008, the information rule was set down. See, until then, you couldn't share information, I guess, between your partners and stuff like that, or you couldn't receive information. So that was changed, where the golfer could receive and share information. 2016, the anchored club, which kind of refers to what? The long shaft putter. Now that came about. Now during this time, 84 to now, the TV was real popular, was covering a lot more golf courses, golf tournaments. So the movement of the ball during this time span was, if the ball moved, you were penalized. Now, when the TV came in, there's not really a lot of clarification on why the rule changed because of TV. I guess we have to assume, like in the NFL, there's another official in a TV box who maybe helps out the referee on the golf course. Same way with NFL, got a little hearing device. So if the ball moved, the golfer was not penalized. Now, that is a brief history. I mean, we could go on for a long time with the rules of golf. I mean, they changed a lot, like I said, over 600 years of golf. Now, a little interesting fact about the ball. Now, did you know the golf ball weighs 1.620 ounces? And the size is 1.680 in diameter? The golf hole is 4.25 inches. Now, how did that come about? Well, it looks like in 1829, the first hole digging device was built, and it happened to be 4.25 inches. So that's what the standard became. Now, there was no mandatory cup in the hole. That's still not mandatory. But if there is a cup in a hole, it has to be 1 inch below the top of the hole. Now, what I found interesting was this. Gene Saracen, he spoke a lot about the hole being too small. I'm with you, Gene. He wanted 8 inches, and I like bucket size for me. But there it is, folks. There is a brief history of the game of golf, the history of golf. I really enjoyed bringing it to you. I've learned a lot myself, and I hope you have too. So, until another day, I hope I see you out there playing golf with some of these rules, some of the things you learn. Until another day, this is Bayou Golf saying, I'll see you when I see you.